If this epidemic of ghosting is really pissing you off, then this video is for you. I'm going to break down ghosting, why it happens, and how we can move forward as a society and just stop it. Stop ghosting each other. All right, my name is Leslie Noble, and this is your daily no bullshit truth. I've been a therapist for close to 30 years, and I specialize in betrayal trauma, helping people heal from being betrayed, rewrite their stories, and thrive in spite of what's happened in the past. So I completely do not understand the whole ghosting thing. I'll just be honest with you. Maybe I'm like old, I don't know, but I don't understand it. I don't understand how we can look at another human being and just disappear. Somebody that loved and cared about you deeply and you just disappear. There is this epidemic I read about yesterday, and I don't remember where I read the article, but the article was about how people in long-term relationships now are ghosting. Before it was just, we went on a couple of dates and I didn't think it was going to work out. And I think that's rude too, by the way. I think it takes absolutely nothing to send someone a message to say, I don't feel the spark or I don't feel the connection. But I don't understand the long-term relationship. One thing I will say before I dive into this is that it is perfectly acceptable to walk away from a relationship where there's abuse. But that's not what I'm talking about today. I'm not talking about emotional, physical, spiritual abuse. Those things are perfectly acceptable to protect yourself and walk away from those things. I'm not talking about that today. I'm talking about people that have given their heart and soul in a relationship and somebody just walks away and ghosts them. I read about a woman that went on a hike and her husband took her up in a hike and he just disappeared. I read about a man who said that his to-be wife, his fiance, they were a month away from the wedding. She blocked him on everything and just disappeared. So I want to break down why people do that shit. Why are people doing that? Well, first of all, I think social media has played a big part in it because we have forgotten how to value human beings. That the person on the other side of the screen is a person. There's somebody's mother, daughter, sister, husband, brother, friend, and we treat relationships like they are disposable. I'm just going to go on to the next thing. You know, who cares with that person? And we leave somebody hurt and move on like it's nothing. The second reason is we chase novelty like crazy in our society. And what novelty is I'm chasing that next feeling. But long-term commitments and relationships are not about chasing a feeling. It is about love is a choice. This is the person I'm choosing today. And there may be some ups and downs and things that we have to deal with, but we do it together as a team. I think porn has taught us to chase novelty. I think social media, I think dating apps has taught us to chase novelty. And that is not a good combination for a healthy long-term relationship. I think we get on Instagram and you see somebody attractive, so you're reaching out and then you talk to them and maybe there's somebody else that's more attractive, so then you go and talk to them, and it's just this never-ending cycle, and I think it's a problem. And I think in a way it becomes addictive, and I think that is part of the problem as well. Why long-term relationships are struggling right now. I see it over and over and over again with infidelity. The third reason is just plain avoidance. We don't want to have the conflict. We're afraid of the conflict. We don't want to have that conversation or that honest conversation. But having conversations where you meet somebody with honesty and clarity is mature. It is love. And even if that love for you have for that person means it doesn't work out, it is meeting that person with integrity, meeting them with honesty, saying, I value you as a human being. Even though I've gone out with you a couple of times and it didn't work out, I value you. The last reason, the fourth reason is it is sometimes the feeling of inadequacy from the ghoster. I can't meet you where you are. I can't be what you need me to be. And instead of meeting you with honesty and saying, I'm worried about getting married because I'm worried I'm not going to give you what you need, you just disappear and pretend like it didn't happen. Let me tell you why it's important that we don't ghost. Because whether we want to face that or not, commitment is important. And part of this trend in social media I've been seeing is, I'm just going to say single because it's awful. And I think it's another form of avoidance. And I think we've all participated in it one way or another. Commitment is important because it helps you grow. And I know not everybody's going to agree with me on that, but that's the point of relationships, to help us grow. And if we want to grow, we have to grow with integrity and honesty and meeting that person with emotional maturity. Maturity says, even if it's uncomfortable, I'm gonna say the damn thing because I value you as a human being. And I can say the damn thing with respect and not disappear on you. We all have to do better if we want relationships to work. If we want connection. As human beings, we die without connections. My son was adopted from Russia when he was 11 months old. And so I went into these orphanages and saw these babies, and babies would die from lack of connection. They didn't thrive. They were lonely. Some of them had never been held or touched. And that is tragic to me. We are built for connection. And we have to get away from our screens, get out from behind our screens and see people face to face, meet them in the eyes, and realizing that human beings have value. If this was helpful to you, I'd love for you to like and subscribe and follow along. There's more where this comes from.